Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. How would you value a company that is growing 100% year over year, is considered a leader in its space, is shipping products better than anybody, and rapidly doing international expansion while launching additional profitable product lines domestically? That company, of course, is Robinhood, and that's what the market's trying to figure out right now is how to properly value Robinhood, which when quarter four reports, they'll be somewhere within a rounding error of about 100% revenue growth year over year. Now, this is a quarter that is certainly very exciting. Don't expect 100% revenue growth every quarter. That's certainly not going to happen, but there's a lot to be excited about with Robinhood. But I wanted to specifically talk about today why Robinhood went up about 10%, Coinbase went up 6 or 7%. There's another number of other names that also went up that are crypto related. Of course, everything went up, but these in particular went up a lot. And it has to do with the same thing that we've actually seen a number of headlines on Robinhood. And we covered some of this on Robinhood Weekly, but specifically, I wanted to dig into the details. So, one of those, and I will show you this first, is that year over year revenue growth. This continues to be increased by analysts. And so they are now projecting 930.22 million. As far as their average, or somebody is projecting 971. Price target after price target upgrade is coming out for Robinhood just because when you have nearly and maybe even possibly 100% revenue growth year over year, you get the market's attention. But it's not just that. Another major headline that came out, which was negative, is this. Well, actually, very specifically, Robinhood was charged uh, by the SEC and ordered to pay $45 million in security violations. However, this wasn't just Robinhood specifically. In fact, that there were well over 30 names going back in August. They had a list of about 26 that were slapped together. And let me pull that up here. I threw that up before, but they were fined some lesser amounts. But there's a lot of names here that had good chunks of money. TD Securities at 30 million. LPL Financial, $50 million, Edward Jones, $50 million, RBC Capital, $45 million, and for exactly the same things. Now, what is this exactly? Really, what this is a failure of communication. When you have this many institutions that are run afoul of the same regulation, obviously something went wrong. So think of it this way. If you were a school teacher and you're teaching a class of 30 people and 30 students, if one or two students misbehaves, that's on the students very, very clearly. You won't be in trouble with that. Maybe the parents won't like it or not, but you can mete out punishment if you need to, enforce that regulation, send them to the principal's office, whatever you need to do. If the entire class misbehaves, if all of them act up, or all but one or two, that issue then falls on the teacher. Obviously, there's something wrong with the way that they're communicating to the class, with the way that they're trying to get the class ready for the next assignment. And that's the case here. The SEC under Gary Gensler has very much focused on enforcement. And so they love slapping fines left and right. We saw one today on Elon Musk. We see them basically executing these all the time if you look at SEC's website. Case in point, here are just the press releases in January on the SEC's website, and you can see charge after charge after charge after charge. I don't know at this point if the government just needs some extra money or what exactly is happening. That may be the case, but this administration under Gary Gensler went heavy, heavy, heavy on enforcement and did not bother clarifying any regulation, especially when it came to crypto. So another headline came out today. Certainly, Donald Trump has mentioned firing Gary Gensler on day one. Gensler is actually going to be stepping aside early, so he can't be fired. But he was out either way. Either way, it's an exciting thing. And I want to show you what Robinhood was thinking, actually, when they were slapped with this $45 million penalty. If we scroll down, we see one of their legal counsel actually stating here, one thing that they say is that they're pleased to resolve these matters. They're historical. A lot of these date back to 2020, 2021, 2022, with all of these names, not just Robinhood. But look at this last paragraph. We are well positioned to continue leading the industry in developing innovative products and services for our customers want and need to participate in U.S. and global financial markets, Moskowitz said. Here it is. We look forward to working with the SEC under a new administration. This is the professional equivalent of saying, Gary Gensler, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I can't imagine anybody in the industry, Robinhood, Coinbase, or anybody else, even SoFi, that had a crypto platform that had to divest from it, being sad that Gary Gensler is leaving. Instead, this has been they've been very, very heavy-handed. And Trump has, and that's just a headline that came out today. Trump had mentioned that with his SEC, they're going to kickstart a crypto overhaul. Including possibly freezing some regulation, giving clarification whether it's a security or not. That needed to happen 4 years ago, and it did not. And as a result, a lot of companies have had to slow down deliberately what they were able to do and willing to do for cryptocurrency. So there's going to be clarification, there's going to be communication, and no longer is the SEC going to be under Gary Gensler. That is just looking to enforce cloudy, murky regulation that is not clear. There's so many things that they didn't clarify, even on just the equity piece. So this is very, very beneficial for Robinhood. They would have pumped anyway just because of the nature of the macro with inflation reading from CPI coming in a good bit lower than expected. Of course, we had a good jobs report fairly recently. PCI also came in lower early in the week. And banks reported today and had a fantastic, fantastic quarter. So all of these really line up for a very favorable macro, but having Gary Gensler out is the cherry on top for a lot of these names. They will very much benefit. Fintech itself, there was a couple of headlines that came out where CEOs were quoted on this, as emerging from basically a winter, and now it's spring. Now things are thawing. Regulation is becoming likely more favorable, at least a lot more clear, so they're able to navigate it. And so we're going to see fintech, I think, do very, very well. Robinhood is a leader in this space, especially among brokerages. I think is going to absolutely dominate. And even though it hit a 52-week all-time high, not an all-time high, I think that we have still a long way to run, a lot of products to launch. There's a lot of excitement around Robinhood and certainly others within the crypto space. Lastly, it didn't hurt that Bitcoin went up over 100,000 briefly. It's about 99,000 right now. By the time you're watching this video, it could be anywhere from $5 to $5 million. But that's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but certainly as crypto does well, so does Robinhood, especially on the crypto platform. So that's it for now. I just wanted to share why Robinhood is especially pumped, about 10% today, even though all these other names did really well, and why it's up nearly 20% year to date in this very short year already. Quite impressive gains. Can't wait to see what happens in with quarter four and future quarters here, and of course, what other products they ship out. Thank you all for watching, subscribing, and commenting. And until next time, happy investing.